Hello everyone, I am Commodore Todit Prakash Mato, a Navy veteran and a certified career counselor. Today, I'll deal with the topic how to choose your stream in class 11th and 12th and subsequently a career. This video is primarily made for students of 8th, 9th and 10th, wherein I'll talk of how or why to select a particular stream, namely science, commerce or humanities in class 11th and 12th. I'm going to make a subsequent video wherein I'll talk of various careers after class 12th. 8th, 9th and 10th standard are the formative years of our life or rather student's life, and impressions about various careers get formed based on what is the knowledge and exposure about various careers. At times we get influenced by some of our relatives and friends and get biased without knowing much in detail, which can be both in a positive way or a negative way. For example, someone in a smart uniform can influence towards glamour of uniform service. At the same time, if someone gets late every day from work or remains absent from home for days together because of the requirements of the job, let's say the parents, so it creates a dislike for that profession amongst the children. I'll try and list out certain tips on how to come to a decision as to what kind of career is most suitable for you, and to fulfill the dream, what stream should you choose? You may not be able to pinpoint any particular career, but a cluster of similar careers which needs similar educational requirement. To understand the process, I will briefly talk of what are the factors that generally are responsible in our decision making and also the mistakes we do in choosing a career. Out of the factors which are considered before deciding on a career, personal factors are the factors which are based on our personal characteristics. And next are the environmental factors, which are external but equally important. Let's start off with the personal factors. First is interest, that is, what interests me or what I like doing. This at most of the times are dependent on the personality of the individual. The personality types broadly can be realistic, who prefer to physically work himself with hands, and he loves to work. Investigative, the people who are investigative, they like to think, analyze and interpret data and things. The artistic type of people are of course generally creative and appreciate and like to create artistic work. Social ones are of helping nature. They like to talk to people and work with people. Enterprising, they are good managers or rather persuaders. They can organize things well. And of course conventional are the ones who like to stick to what is being followed and they're not generally adventurous. They like to organize and manage data. Next personal factor is the aptitude or rather what you can do well. What interests me and what I can do well, both can be really different. What actually I am capable of doing may not match with what I would like to do. Capability to do a certain kind of job will depend on one's aptitude. The aptitudes broadly can be numerical aptitude, that is how one can comprehend mathematics and handle numbers. Verbal aptitude is how one can express orally or even in written form. Mechanical aptitude is how well one can understand and work with machines. Spatial aptitude is, spatial means space, that is how one can comprehend shapes, figures, patterns, and reasoning aptitude is how one can understand logical reasoning and find out solutions to the problems. Third of the personal characteristics is awareness. This is about how much knowledge or awareness one has about various careers or profession. If we are aware about various careers, about the pros and cons, what is the nature of job, that is what they actually do, what are the working hours, are there enough free time, holidays, what is the quality of life, how much are the pays and allowances and associated perks, and so on. Now let's come to environmental factors. First is we'll talk of parents' preference. So what the parents want the child to do, at times parents want their children to fulfill their unfulfilled desires or dreams, what they wanted to become but couldn't, they want to see in their children. In a way, they decide what the child will do without considering any other factors. Next is parents or family's profession. If there is a family profession, maybe certain business or even family where all are doctors or engineers or even in the armed forces, it's likely that the child as well as the parents get biased towards the particular profession. While it helps to certain extent, since a lot of groundwork is already done and the child is already familiar, since he has got good exposure about that career, and of course there will be support since the infrastructure such as in case of business is already there. But what if the child doesn't like it or he doesn't have the aptitude for it? He will neither enjoy it nor he will do good in that career, and he will keep cursing eventually throughout his life. Next is parents' financial capabilities, a very important factor. This is with respect to financial support possible for higher studies, especially if it's a private setup or a private college, or even if the child has to start earning as soon as possible because the family cannot support anymore. In that case, of course, instead of a professional course, he has to take up a vocational course, after which he has to start earning. Next is the priorities of both the student as well as the parents, whether it is money or quality of life. There is always a big dilemma in life, money or quality of life. Getting both at the same time is almost next to impossible. Many get lured by the money, but we must understand nobody pays you more for no reason. Either the work will be more than normal, bad or hazardous, working environment may be quite unhealthy, or the working hours should be quite odd, or lots of traveling, meaning away from family, separation. On the other hand, if you go for a better quality of life, lot of free time, good working hours and so on, definitely the financial reward will be much less. So a good balance with enough money and at the same time a comparatively good working environment and good personal life is most desirable. But deciding how much is enough becomes really tough. Next condition is physical condition or rather health. Very important factor in deciding a career. In case of any disabilities, though the feel-good terminology is special ability, it poses restriction in choosing a career which demands physically fit standard, such as armed forces, airlines, shipping, and so on. And last but not the least factor is admission in college. So basically, finally, you may have big dreams and capabilities also, but where do you secure admission at the end? Which college you get admission in? That matters. With so much of complication in quota system and different levels of screening for admission, especially in professional colleges, if you get a good college of your choice and the choice of your course also, you must consider yourself really lucky. But yes, if you decide and plan and prepare from early on, things become comparatively simpler. Now, let me talk of the mistakes we generally do in choosing stream in class 11th, which later on leads to career choice. Marks obtained in 9th and 10th in various subjects, especially science, often becomes the criteria for choosing stream. Someone who has scored high without thinking much takes science and thereafter commerce, and the people who really didn't do well takes humanities. It may be totally a bad decision, and later the child may not be able to cope up in the higher classes. So interest, aptitude and personality is important. In case there is a confusion in mind or even otherwise, I'll suggest seeking advice of a career counselor in this regard. A career counselor through psychometric test wherein he will be able to judge your personality type, interest, as well as aptitude through a certain questionnaire, through a software. And also, there has to be interviewing and counseling sessions that would be very helpful in deciding, or rather, he will be able to suggest which stream will be most suitable to you. Another mistake happens is at times we get influenced by families and friends, and we get biased towards a certain career by seeing certain aspects of it, especially what we see in some relative or friend. We may not be aware of all the pros and cons. Many times people just talk or show off only what is good and try and hide what is not so good. What we see externally may not be the whole truth. So, in case someone is thinking of such a career, it would be wiser to get to know all the aspects about the career. We must understand no power or privilege comes without responsibility. So, in conclusion, my advice will be either seek assistance or guidance of a career counselor, or list out and discuss with your parents on how to be aware about various career options of your interest, aptitude, and personality type. You can check sites like careerguidance.app. I found the site quite good at it and has mapped the careers beautifully. Take all the factors into consideration, whatever we have discussed earlier. Then shortlist about 2-3 suitable career clusters. Check the education requirement. Avoid the subjects you dislike and are not good at. Also, you may avoid keeping all the options, that is PCMB, physics, chemistry, maths and bio. It puts a lot of pressure, believe you me, and also hardship. So, maths and biology, in case of science, decide on it, because you may not like both engineering as well as medicine. And so, do not overstress and don't hesitate taking humanities if it suits you. There are plenty of careers out there with humanities, and science is not superior, which is generally considered so. Taking science is no guarantee of a good career. There are plenty of engineers out there who are jobless. Lately, post-COVID, there has been a big shift in the choice and demands in various careers. I can list out a few where the demands have really gone high. Like in case of the combination of physics, chemistry and maths, that is the engineering side, there has been good demand for data science, software development, cybersecurity, game designing, artificial intelligence, robotics and so on. And in the bio side, there has been good demand for, of course, doctors, that is medicine, and physiotherapy, nutritionist, and environmental scientist. In commerce side, people have been really thinking of investing well. So financial consultancy is in good demand, and investment banking too, and actuary and insurance. Towards humanities, also branches like administrative services and psychology, counseling, all those things have seen a good rise in demand. If you have any subject, whether it is science, commerce or humanities, you can do, of course, law, which is in good demand these days, then digital marketing and designing, graphic designing. So finally, thanks a lot for watching this video. Be aware and be wise and be justified to yourself. Do not overestimate your capabilities or your dreams. Neither you should underestimate yourself. Choose the right stream for yourself, what you really want to become, and do not try to grab everything. Best wishes. See you.